are the organisms, the complex community of organisms present in the intestine of a newborn, and the microbiome is the collective genetic material of that microorganism. So the correlation between, there should be a perfect balance of the microbiota present in the gut of the, and we should know that what is the difference between preterm and term, because it differs between the preterm and term. Preterm babies microbiota is more harmful bacteria there in comparison to abundance of useful bacteria. Next slide. Like bifidobacterium, 33 weeks gestation appears to be a gestation limit where the bifidobacterium starts increasing in the intestine of preterm neonates as assessed by the stool cultures and stool analysis. And they also preterm neonates exhibits less biodiversity and there is greater possibility of pathogenic organism and smaller abundance of anaerobic bacteria like bifidobacterium and Provitilla and other useful that are essential for the gut stimulation. So we should, if there is an imbalance between the gut microbiota, that can contribute to gut-related complications.
So it is interesting to note that this total microbiota is almost in the range of 10⁻13 to 10⁻14. And if we look at the genetic material of this microbiota community, it is 100 times of that of human, the genetic material, what we call it as microbiome. So it is, a lot of things are under research and we'll be learning it over a period of time. Can you explain?
Yes.
This is a beautiful
So
picture.
microbiome development starts happening from the in utero. When the mother is taking antibiotics, what is the diet of the mother. So all these things, bacteria actually doesn't transmit it directly to the baby, but some short chain fatty acids are synthesized when there is an infection in the mother or by bacteria in the mother. So that can transmit and they can induce the changes. When the baby is born, then what mode baby was delivered? Baby was delivered vaginally or by cesarean mode, or what feed was given, how much the baby stayed in the NICU. So these factors affect because the baby born and later on it depends on the how many baby required antibiotic, whether preterm baby was born, what was the feeding, how was the environment where baby was kept initially. So all these things contribute to the microbiome development in a newborn. And there is a difference has been found in the babies born through the cesarean as well as vaginal. Those will next slide. The babies born through the vaginal delivery have more of lactobacillus, more of bacteroides, more of bifidobacterium, yellow, green, yellow, blue, dark blue, and green zone. And the babies born through the cesarean have other harmful bacteria. So, and it was one of my thesis also when we studied vaginally and cesareally born babies, and we consecutively took the samples from the baby till 28 days of life, and we found that those babies born through the cesarean, they have slightly more multi-drug resistant organism on their different skin sites. So this phenomena is being studied, and it is and people have studied that allergy-related disorder like asthma and immune intolerance and atopic dermatitis, these are more in babies born through the cesarean. So studies are ongoing, but in the preterm baby, in a newborn baby, we should avoid the unnecessary cesarean, and healthy flora should evolve that can prevent the NEC and other outcomes.
This
This is just what I.
Is that immunity maturation?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Do you want to elaborate on this paper?
This is in considering the time, ma'am. This is same what I in elaboration.
Okay, so we'll go to the next question. So, do you think that intestine, is a neuroendocrine organ?
Yes, intestine is a neuroendocrine organ. Now this concept has been studied in the mice and animals, and the concept is even in humans. Retrospective studies, they have shown that the gut neurotransmitter released through the gut, they activate the brain microglial cells, which are essential for the myelination and other functions of the brain. So if there is imbalance in the gut leading to different productions of hormones, and there is any stress factors are there, their cytokine production is increased, or so that can alter the white matter, that can induce the white matter injury. It has been found that increased risk of cerebral palsy and learning disabilities has been found in the babies whose gut was not okay, and they were facing problems in the initial neonatal period. but the large randomized control trials are still needed to approve the function, but there are many studies.
Okay, so tell us, is there any relation between this, gut-brain axis and white matter injury, which you have partially covered? Will you like to highlight on any particular thing?
The microbiota gut-brain axis injury, actually bacteria directly doesn't activate the brain. They produce the short-chain fatty acids and some neurotransmitters. There are 2-3 hypotheses are there, and they stimulate the microglial cells in the brain. That if there is no stimulation, myelin synthesis and other things can lack, and there can be changes in the nerve system of the baby. So there is emerging evidence suggests that gut microbiota inflammation and white matter injury in the preterm can contribute to the neurodevelopmental outcome of a newborn. But still, the more research is needed in this.
Okay, so what are the currently gut protection strategies, and of course subsequently what will be the future intervention? So what are the current strategies?
As we know that breast milk is the gold standard, we should provide early and exclusive breast milk so that can reduce the incidence of NEC. Breast milk has got so many useful, even bacteria are there. There are so many cytokine, lymphocyte, neutrophils. All these can help in the developing the normal commensal flora in the gut. Secondly, probiotics. Many studies have shown that the probiotics are beneficial. So it has been shown that they can reduce NEC, they can reduce sepsis. So probiotics can be used and adjoined to protect the gut from harmful effect of antibiotics and other pathogenic flora that are found in the neonatal ICU. Always avoid unnecessary use of antibiotics because they can reduce those baby who receive the antibiotics, the bifidobacterium and firmicutes, their amount was less, which are very useful for the newborn babies. And prebiotic supplementation is also, few studies are there, they are suggesting the prebiotic supplementation also reduces the risk of NEC and neonatal outcomes improves. And promoting skin to skin contact, early skin to skin contact can decolonize the bacteria available on the surface of the baby as well as and lead to the better development of flora in the gut. And judicious use of cesarean section should be done so that all the babies born through the vaginal tract gets more number of bifidobacterium and provitella, and the more useful bacteria are more as shown by many studies.
Yeah, and now with the paper published in Lancet showing the effect of immediate KMC where mother and babies are together in AM and ICU, I think all of us should practice for that because it is currently practiced in very few units, and most of the units are practicing KMC but not immediate KMC after birth, and it is shown to be feasible and protective. So I think that we should be practicing that. So tell us about probiotic supplementation.
This actually are covered, but there are many studies recently published that probiotic supplementation can improve the gut microbiota. They have studied the effect of probiotic supplementation on gut micro and the risk of NEC, published in Nature in 23. Prebiotics can reduce the risk, recently published. And skin to skin contact also changes the gut microbiota. So these are the very useful interventions that we should practice. Although prebiotics don't not that proven, but probiotics, so many systemic meta-analyses and studies, they have recommended to reduce the risk of NEC. But the risk of NEC should be justifiable to give the probiotic in your neonatal ICU, not where the risk of incidence is only 2 to 3% and you are giving to all babies.
Yeah, so that is very important. So just tell us quickly prevention, future intervention.
Some probiotics are being developed similar to human milk oligosaccharides. So they are planning that human milk oligosaccharide act as a probiotic available in the breast milk. So they are developing that type of probiotic similar to human milk oligosaccharide, and some postbiotics, some byproduct of because of the probiotics. These are being developed, and some small studies are there. They have shown that they are more effective than giving the probiotic, not postbiotic. And stem cell therapy, animal studies, 8-9 studies are there. They have shown that giving the stem cell therapy to the mice and rodents, they reduce the incidence of NEC. And also new methods to assess the intestinal microbiota and impact on health is being done.
So I think this is the last question. Thank you very much for enlightening on this, and making this difficult topic, less provoked topic into simple and understandable language. So we go to the next, and that is the part 3. So this is for Dr. Bashir, and now we are talking of organ protection of brain. And of course, all of us are, know that with smaller and smaller babies surviving, you have more neurodevelopmental impairments which you come across subsequently. So tell us in short, what is the incidence of neurodevelopmental impairments? Is there any data, Indian data, and why it has not changed, especially in the preterm babies?
Yesterday evening, while I was enjoying the faculty dinner, I got a call from the hospital that we are expecting a preterm delivery 29 weeks. When I reached the hospital, then in the antenatal counseling, the father asked me, the first question was, how will be my baby later on? His question was not, what are the chances of survival? His question was, how will be my baby later on in the life? So, neurodevelopmental impairment is a major morbidity of the sick newborns which survive in our NICU.
Yeah.
And the major causes are preterm encephalopathy and HIE. So with the advanced antenatal and neonatal care, more and more preterm newborns are surviving. And various studies have shown that these newborns have increased incidence of impairment in development, learning, behavior, and social interaction. Few studies have shown that the survival without morbidity range from 9% in 24 weekers to 60% in 28-weeker infants. And there is a Indian study also, which was done in 2013 by Mukhopadhyay et al. They studied around 101 VLBW newborns, and they found that mean mental developmental quotient and motor developmental quotients in preterm newborns, very low birth newborn, were around 80 and 77%. And the scores less than 70%, that is significant impairment in the mental development quotient was in 17% of the babies, and in motor component was in 25% of the babies. This is a significant number. But recently, like this is the data 10 years back, but recent data is not there. There's a need for more follow-up studies, because the advance in the care, in the developmental supportive care, most probably the incidence of these outcomes have improved in last 10 years. Next.
So I think we have to keep in mind that we are basically managing vulnerable babies. And when you look at a 28-29 weeker, the brain volume of the baby is just 1/3 of the baby who is born at term. And at 35 weeks, the baby's brain volume is 2/3 of the baby who is born at term. So these babies are born with, a lot of compromise, lot of maturational, the arrest and the immaturity. And we have to take, for any decision you take in NICU, whether it is for ventilation or for anything else, we have to always keep the possibility of vulnerability of this baby's brain in mind. So what is the critical period of brain development?
So, major developmental events and the peak time of occurrence are: primary neurulation is between 3 to 4 weeks of gestation, prosencephalic development between 10 and 14 weeks of gestation, neuronal proliferation between 14 to 20 weeks, neuronal migration from 14 weeks to 26 weeks, synaptogenesis from 24 weeks gestation to postnatally, myelination from birth to years postnatally. This emphasizes that the brain development and maturation of brain is a continuous process. And if a baby is born preterm, even or term, sick baby, if there is some insult, that is going to affect their brain as well.
So when the preterm delivery happens, this sequential development gets compromised, it's damaged, and now the baby's brain is developing in the atmosphere or environment of NICU, which cannot be compared with the mother's womb. And of course there is a affection of sensory environment and everything, and as a result of that the babies develop problems. So what are the mechanisms of preterm encephalopathy? And I think So mechanism of preterm encephalopathy.
So the mechanism of encephalopathy of prematurity can be divided into upstream and downstream mechanism. The periventricular area is the area of the brain where the neurons are formed, and from there these neurons migrate to the cortex. And this area is very energy demanding, but this area has a disadvantage because the arterial supply in this area is compromised, as the arteries in this area are in the this is a arterial border zone, and the arteries in this area are end arteries, and this is further complicated by the other thing, that is this preterm babies have pressure passive circulation. That means any fluctuation in the blood pressure will lead to fluctuation in the cerebral perfusion pressure. In adults, the cerebral perfusion pressure remains constant over a range of peripheral arterial BP, but in newborns that range is narrowed. So, as the gestation goes down, it is almost a flat line. So, if a BP drops, the cerebral perfusion pressure drops, and the area of the brain that is affected first is this periventricular area. And the other problem that can lead to this back
Yeah.
is that infection and inflammation. The downstream mechanisms include free radical injury and vulnerability of pre-myelinated oligodendrocytes to free radical injury, because they are deficient in antioxidant defenses and they have abundance of non-protein bound iron. And the third important mechanism is excitotoxicity. The preterm brain, in preterm brain, there are more of excitatory hormones, because there is a saying that neurons that fire together wire together. But this also puts them at that disadvantage that more of the excitatory hormones leads to the damage to these preols if there is disturbance. And